This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 473, How to Know When a Buying Sign is Not a Buying Sign.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Helmers. And I don't know about you, but more than once I've lied to myself that I was going to close a deal. I would invent some story that the prospect was showing buying signs, like they were asking good questions. They were explaining how they could use it in their own situation, and they shared that they wanted to make a decision quickly. But when all was said and done, they never committed, they never bought, and I never really had a chance. Because I was fooling myself. In fact, I purposely avoided questions that could have shed light on their hesitancy. But like I said, I was a fool. Now the Tao, it talks about the risk of overvaluing, and it delves deep into the pitfalls of attachment and the troubles that come when things don't work out. These days, I'm all about being honest, which brings us to today's topic: when is a buying sign not a buying sign? But before we get to today's chapter, make sure and subscribe to the podcast on whatever app that you're listening to. That way, you never miss an episode. And so, with no further ado, let's get to it. And now today's chapter. Buying signs? Objections are best solved while they are easy. Sooner they are addressed, the better. Important deals are best started while they are small. The master seller never takes on more than they can handle, which means that they leave nothing in the sale undone. When buying signals are given too lightly, keep your eyes open for trouble ahead. When something seems too easy, the devil is in the details. The master seller expects great difficulty, so the deal is always easier than planned. Now today's story. Pat was excited to meet for Chris's one-on-one. "How is that Lee deal going?" asked Pat. "They should be signing the order this week, right?" Crestfallen and eyes down, Chris responded, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." "Really?" said Pat. "What went wrong?" Chris answered, "Lee's very excited about our service and thinks it's a good match, and Lee was certain they would buy. I trusted it was a done deal. But then it unraveled." "How so?" said Pat. "Lee took our solution to their team, and they found one issue after another. Then Lee's boss got involved, and financing became a problem. It's just a big mess." "So why did you get our onboarding team scheduled and staffed long before the deal was set?" asked Pat. Chris was silent. Pat spoke. "Hope is not a strategy. A plan is a strategy. The best strategy is allowing deals to unfold on their own schedule. Hoping otherwise is a fool's errand." Author Molly Friedenfeld wrote, quote, "Assuming is a form of giving away your power to another regarding an outcome that concerns you." I agree. Hope's a very unruly emotion. It leads us to assume things that are not necessarily real, and more dangerously, it leads us to do nothing when action is required. Taoism teaches that we should live in a state of harmony with the universe and the energy found in it. They call that energy qi. This energy is present and guiding in everything in the universe. Each deal has its own qi. Cultivate that qi, and unfounded assumptions will evaporate. To read this week's chapter, you can find links to it in the show notes at www.salesbabble.com. And while you're there, if you have any questions about this episode or any other episode, don't hesitate to reach out. Click the Babble Me button, and that will send a message directly to me. If you could do me a favor, if you could share this episode with just one friend who's looking to grow their selling skills, I would really appreciate it. Word of mouth is one of the best ways of growing a podcast audience. And speaking of podcasting, did you know that podcasting is one of the easiest ways of turning your executives into thought leaders with content that reaches your ideal clients? Maybe you've heard that podcasting is the new blogging. You can learn more about Habanero Media, my podcasting agency for B2B brands. Let me help you start a podcast that will accelerate your sales today. Go to habaneromedia.net to reach out. Let's talk about what you can do to stand out from the competition. With that said, that's all I've got for this week. Until next Tuesday, take care and have a highly successful and a profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.